Welcome back for another deep dive. You've brought us, well, a really key piece today, Chapter 10, from Sun Tzu's The Art of War, all about terrain.
That's right. And our mission really is to unpack what Sun Tzu means by terrain, chapter 10, and see what wisdom is still in there for us.
Yeah, because it's not just about hills and rivers, is it? It feels like these ideas about, the ground you're on could apply to, well, almost anything today.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the environment, the context, and helping us connect those ancient dots to the modern world. We have our expert insights ready. So let's dive in. Chapter 10 kicks off with 6 potential disasters.
Right, 6 calamities. And crucially, he says they aren't caused by the enemy, but by the general's own mistakes regarding the terrain. The first one is flight.
Yeah, flight. Sun Tzu describes it as, well, basically misjudging the enemy, sending a small force against a big one, or maybe not having your best people, your strongest soldiers, right at the front.
Sounds like a recipe for a quick retreat. So for you listening, the takeaway seems to be really know what you're up against, right? Assess your resources honestly compared to the challenge, the terrain.
Exactly. Think about, say, a small company trying to take on a giant competitor without a unique edge or enough cash. That's misjudging the terrain. It leads straight to, well, flight. Your resources just vanish.
Makes sense. Okay, what's the second calamity?
It's called insubordination. This happens when the soldiers, the rank and file, are too strong, but the officers are too weak.
Interesting. A power imbalance, but the other way around. So for you, maybe think about a team full of really talented individuals, like star players, but with weak management.
Precisely. You get brilliant individual stuff,
Uh-huh.
maybe, but no cohesion. Everyone pulls in different directions. It's kind of internal chaos, that insubordination.
Hmm.
Tu Mu even mentions an army, Kiampu's army, that fell apart because of this
The leadership needs to channel that strength. Okay, number 3.
collapse. And this one is kind of the mirror image. The officers are too strong and the soldiers are too weak.
Okay. So maybe like management pushing way too hard on a team that just doesn't have the skills or resources.
Yeah, exactly. The drive is there from the top, but the team can't deliver. They burn out, morale tanks, and the whole thing just collapses. You see that pressure in the modern workplace all the time.
Definitely. So the lesson for you is know your team's capacity, make sure expectations are actually realistic. What's the fourth calamity?
Ruin. This is when higher-up officers get angry, act out, maybe out of resentment, before the commander-in-chief really knows what's going on or can size up the situation.
Ooh, that sounds bad. Internal politics boiling over, like department heads acting out of spite, not strategy.
Exactly. Wang Shi commented on this, saying how acting on resentment like that just leads to disaster, to ruin for everyone.
Hmm.
So for you, it underlines how vital clear communication and resolving internal conflicts are before they wreck the bigger picture.
Crucial. Okay, number 5.
Disorganization. And, well, this one feels unfortunately familiar sometimes. Sun Tzu says it's down to a weak general, no real authority, unclear orders, roles all muddled, just general sloppiness.
Uh-huh. We've all seen projects like that, haven't we? Vague goals, nobody knows who's doing what. Reminds me of what Wei Liaotzu and even Baden-Powell later said about needing crystal clear instructions.
Yes, without that clarity, that strong hand-guiding things, you just get chaos, wasted effort. So for you, it's about the power of good planning, clear roles, solid leadership.
Couldn't agree more. And the last one, number 6.
That's route. It's similar to flight, in a way. Again, the general misjudges the enemy, sends a weaker force against a stronger one with no real advantage, and doesn't use their best troops effectively.
So it's like making the same mistake, but maybe even worse, leading to a total chaotic defeat.
Pretty much. Think of constantly underestimating a competitor, then throwing inadequate resources at the problem again and again. That leads to a rout. Serious, maybe permanent damage?
What strikes me about all 6 is they're internal failures, aren't they? It's about the leader's relationship with the terrain, not just the enemy.
That's the core point Sun Tzu is making. These are often self-inflicted wounds. And that really sets up his next section, where he talks about the different types of ground.
Right, so after warning about leadership failures, he pivots to the actual ground itself. What are these 6 types?
Okay, first up is dispersive ground. This is when you're fighting right in your own territory, close to home.
Okay, why is that bad? Seems like an advantage.
Well, Tumu pointed out that soldiers might lack desperation. They're close to home, maybe thinking about getting back. Their focus isn't purely on the fight. So Sun Tzu says, don't fight there.
Yeah, okay. Divided attention. So for you, maybe recognize when your team's focus is split and avoid crucial moments then.
Could be. The second type is facile ground. This is when you've gone just a little way into enemy territory. Retreat is still pretty easy.
Facile means easy, right? So what's the advice?
Don't stop. Don't linger. Li Chuan and Ho Shi noted the easy retreat is the key feature. Tu Mu even used that phrase, burn your boats, metaphorically, of course. Remove the easy escape to build commitment.
Got it. Create urgency. Make going forward the only real option. What's number 3?
Contentious ground. This is ground that offers a major strategic advantage to whoever holds it. Think high ground, a key crossroads.
Like a bottleneck. Li Chuan mentioned Thermopylae, right?
Exactly like that, a place worth fighting for. So Sun Tzu's advice is clear. If the enemy holds it first, don't attack them there. It's too costly. Maybe try to lure them out instead.
Makes sense. So for you, identify those key strategic spots in your own field. Maybe a vital contract or market niche, grab them first, or find clever ways around if a competitor has them.
Precisely. Hold the valuable ground.
Okay.
Number 4, open ground. This is where it's level, easy movement for both sides, no real natural advantage.
So a level playing field, literally, what do you do there?
Sun Tzu says, don't set up camp. Don't become a fixed target. If you settle down, the enemy can just maneuver around you and pick their angle of attack.
Stay mobile. Keep your options open. So for you, maybe in a fast-moving market, don't get too rigid in your strategy. Stay flexible.
That's a good way to put it. 5th is ground of intersecting highways. Basically a strategic hub, giving access to several different areas or territories.
Like a major junction. Sounds important.
Very. And Sun Tzu's advice here is form alliances. If you control a key hub like this, you can build connections, gain support, leverage your position.
Right. Use that central spot to build a network. So for you, the parallel is about strategic partnerships, collaboration, especially in complex systems.
Exactly. And finally, number 6 is serious ground. This is when you've gone deep, really deep into enemy territory. Lots of fortified places are now behind you.
Okay, so you're committed, far from home. What's the priority?
Supplies.
Yeah.
You're cut off, potentially. Cheng Yu noted it's not just food, but everything you need. So Sun Tzu advises gathering plunder, foraging basically, living off the land to sustain the push.
Resourcefulness becomes key. So for you, it highlights managing resources carefully on big, ambitious projects, especially when you're far from your usual support systems.
Absolutely. So across all these types, the constant theme is understand the environment, adapt your actions.
And this loops back to that core Sun Tzu idea. Know the enemy, know yourself. But here, it's specifically on these different terrains.
Yes. How does the ground, dispersive, contentious, whatever, affect your capabilities and the enemy's likely moves and mindset? Understanding that interaction is crucial. It lets you spot weaknesses, pick your battles, or avoid them entirely.
It's about seeing how the board itself changes the game.
Deep situational awareness, exactly. And it's not just about the big picture either. He talks about specific tactics for each ground type.
Like what?
Well, on that contentious ground, the valuable spot, avoid attacking an enemy dug in there. On open ground, focus on stopping the enemy from grabbing a good position before you do.
Okay.
On the intersecting highways ground, prioritize those alliances. And on serious ground, deep in enemy territory, that continuous supply line is everything, tactically. It's about tailoring the immediate actions.
Adapt, adapt, adapt. Now, there's an interesting bit about dealing with a big, well-organized enemy who's about to attack. He says, see something the enemy holds dear. What's that about?
It's about disruption, really. Create a diversion, hit them where it hurts. Chao Kung thought it meant grabbing some strategic advantage they need. Ki Mu is more specific, maybe target key positions, vital resources like farmland or their communication lines.
So find something critical to them and threaten it.
Exactly. It forces them to react, disrupts their plan, maybe makes them vulnerable. So for you, it could be about identifying a competitor's key dependency, a supplier, a technology, and finding a way to strategically pressure it.
Find the linchpin and pull it. Okay, then he really emphasizes speed.
Oh, yeah. Rapidity is the essence of war. Tu Mu called it a fundamental truth. Think about swift campaigns in history. Suma against Meng Ta, Li Qing on the Yangtze speed was decisive. It catches the enemy off guard.
So for you, it's about agility, acting fast in competitive situations.
Definitely. Seize the moment. Don't give the other side time to think or react effectively.
And the speed connects to his idea about desperation, doesn't it? Putting your own troops in a tight spot.
It does. It's a bit counterintuitive, maybe. But Sun Tzu argues that when soldiers face a truly desperate situation, no retreat, deep in enemy land, no help coming, they actually lose their fear. They fight harder.
Because they have nothing left to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chan Yu mentioned how it forces unity. Han Xin famously did this, lining his troops up with their backs to a river. It worked. So for you, maybe sometimes creating that backs to the wall feeling carefully can unlock unexpected drive in a team.
Interesting psychology. Okay, finally, chapter 10 wraps up with this idea of leading the army like one man. What does he mean?
It's the ideal, right?
Yeah.
The skillful general has such control, such understanding, they can direct the whole army as easily as moving a single person.
Yeah.
But how?
Yeah, how?
Through quietness for secrecy, uprightness for order and discipline, and, interestingly, by mystifying the troops, using false reports sometimes, to keep everyone, including the enemy, guessing,
Yeah.
maintain surprise.
Keep your own side slightly in the dark, too.
To some extent.
Yeah.
Chow Kong said don't reveal the whole plan initially. Colonel Henderson noted how effective Stonewall Jackson was with this kind of disciplined secrecy. So for you, it's about having that clear vision, yes, but also strong command, unity, and maybe keeping your strategic cards close to your chest.
Create a unified, unpredictable force. Wow. Okay, looking back at this chapter, it's really so much more than just literal terrain. It's a whole framework for thinking strategically about your environment.
Absolutely. It hits hard on self-awareness, understanding the ground you're on, metaphorically, too, and adapting. And that idea that internal weaknesses, those calamities, can be just as dangerous as any enemy. That's huge.
Yeah, and the timeless stuff, too. Speed, decisiveness, unity. It all still lands.
It really forces you, doesn't it, to think about the terrain of your own life, your career, your projects, even just understanding the news. How can you assess that ground, spot the vulnerabilities, act strategically?
Definitely food for thought.
And if this look at terrain got you thinking strategically, wait until you hear about the next chapter.
Right. Next time, we're tackling Chapter 11, The 9 Varieties of Ground. Sounds like we go even deeper into specific situations and how to respond.
It does indeed. More layers to peel back on strategy and environment.
So definitely join us then for another deep dive as we continue exploring Sun Tzu's The Art of War.